Kenyans have gone to the polls today, Tuesday, to elect their fifth president since independence, as well as a new parliament and county officials. About 22.1 million voters are registered out of a population of around 50 million. Nearly 40% of the voters, or 8.8 million, are between the ages of 18 and 34, a drop since the last poll. The country's Vice President, William Ruto, and former Prime Minister Raila Odinga are the frontline candidates in this election, and each of them has been tipped to win the #1 position in the country. President of Kenya, Uhuru Kenyatta, has since cast his vote in Katundu, just north of Nairobi.
Well, this is a day of voting. I think this is a day where we all want to pray that Kenyans vote, turn out and vote in peace, go back to their homes as we await the results.
I'm a Kenyan, and I thought I should go and vote for it's my right. And I think I've come maybe second time in all my life to vote. So today I thought it's very, very important to decrease poverty. And these people who have studied, who are graduates, they should get work. Because I always feel very, very pity when they are graduates and they don't have a job.
I've exercised my duties. So far, so good. The line has been going good. And it's so peaceful, and this is the Kenya we want. With all the peace, everyone voting is a right of each and every individual of this country. We're expecting a lot from the next president, especially with the high cost of living in this country. It is so skyrocketing. The next president of this country has a lot to offer. There's a lot of expectation. Since after the issues of COVID and everything, Kenya has been going down the tunnel. So we're expecting the president to come with economical plan to come and revive the economy of this country.
All right, analyst Mark Bichachi will be joining us right now for a situation report and perspective on how the elections are panning out. Thank you for joining us, Mark, here on Newsday. Now, Mark, we've heard from Uhuru Kenyatta as he has cast his vote. Talk to us. How are the polls going? What's the situation report concerning Decision Day in Kenya?
Well, it's an interesting day. Number one, so far the elections have been peaceful apart from a few issues here and there, namely the destroying of ballot boxes in the county of Meru. The rest of the country, the elections have been peaceful. There have been reported cases of the Kim's kit not being able to identify voters. And when I was here yesterday, I pointed that out, that the identification of voters is likely going to be an issue, but it's not widespread. It's only a few places. The other concern is some places are registering lower voter turnout than expected, almost 50% less. And this is in places such as in central Kenya, simply because of the fact that they do not have one of their own at the top of the ticket. And there is no boogeyman in this election, which is a key issue. There is no scare, there is no fear that there is that they are scared of. So it's been a largely peaceful election, and we expect things to continue flowing smoothly.
Mark, we understand that 6 electoral officials were arrested yesterday and that the commission suspended several local polls due to erroneous ballot papers. What more can you tell us about that?
Well, this is correct. There were some officials who were arrested for various malpractices, and then 2 counties, 2 constituencies, and quite a host of ward elections have been postponed simply because the election material either did not arrive in time or there was a mix-up in the electoral material. Now, this has not happened before at such a scale, but the IEBC is allowed to postpone elections in certain areas for whatever reason. The security has been beefed up, and 6 people being arrested. I'll tell you, for a country such as Kenya, on a day like this, that is quite a small number. But of course, such acts should not be condoned, and we expect that the security forces will continue to do their job as they have so far.
All right, the election umpire has actually come under heavy scrutiny. That independence and also free and fair elections should and would be guaranteed. Talk to us Are the people confident that the umpire will live up to this high standard?
Well, the truth is that there are Kenyans who are complaining, those who've not been allowed to vote, those who the Kim's kids have not worked for. There are some polling stations that opened late, others that have not opened at all. And of course, there's a range of elections that have been postponed. Now, are Kenyans complaining? No, they're not complaining because, number one, I think for every Kenyan, the first thing we're looking for is peace. And there's been a lot of peace in that regard. Secondly, the thing that Kenyans are looking for is some form of sanity and a score of almost 90% of the election happening. And let's remember, Kenya is coming off of the backdrop where nearly 3-4 counties did not vote at all in the second election in 2017. So we are used to certain hitches. They are not as big a deal as they would be in other elections, and therefore Kenyans are largely happy, even though in certain areas you will hear complaints, especially the areas where they've not been able to elect a governor, a member of the county assembly, or even a parliamentarian in some of the places across the country. But by and large, from what I have seen and what I have read and what I have talked to people across the country, people feel satisfied with the exercise, and the fact that they don't have to wait long in the lines has also helped the matter quite a bit.
Now, we know that this election has been defined by the hustlers and Dynasty's family theme coined by William Ruto, that's the deputy president of the country. Now, how do you think this resonates with the voter? Who do you think their sympathy would lie with?
This is a very good question, and it ties to the first statement that I made, low voter turnout. Now, the low voter turnout is interesting because largely the youth are not showing up to vote, and we are seeing more elderly people above 35s voting. Now, the Hustler versus Dynasty slogan was more a young people slogan. It was more a youthful slogan. So my prediction is that you will see a lot less votes for William Ruto, given the low voter turnout, especially in the places that he expected to have a high voter turnout, as in central Kenya. Now, Raila Odinga, on the other hand, has traditionally had support across the country, and so he is looking, just based on the voter turnout, to be more comfortable. William Ruto then has to do a lot to win a lot more votes outside the central region to make up for the deficit of the low voter turnout. So it seems like the Hustler versus Dynasty narrative did not seem to capture the people so much. But it's still early days yet. I'm making this prediction just off of the voter turnout I have seen, but it's still early days yet to be able to make a conclusive analysis of how that particular narrative affected the votes. And I think we will have word on this probably 2 days from now, when the results will begin to trickle in officially.
All right, you're talking about 2 days from now. Are we hoping to avoid the scenario that played out in 2017, whereby the Supreme Court actually had a ruling that said that electronic transmission of results did not pan out as possible, meaning that illegalities and irregularities had taken place in the course of the voting, and they had to do a rerun. This time around, I asked initially about the Electoral Commission and their role in this particular election. Talk to us this time around. Those little lapses about electronic transmission of results, do you think it should still create a stumbling block this time around again?
That's a very good question, because the issue of the previous election was the transmission of results, the identification of voters, and how the process was done. And that's where the illegalities and irregularities were found, which is why we find that Wafula Chebukati, who is the chair of the IEBC, has decided to wait for the Form 34Bs to be collected from various constituencies, instead of tallying from the 34As, which are from the various polling stations. elections. Now, this means that the results will be delayed, but then the results will be properly relayed to him before he declares a winner. So that is one thing that is done as a stopgap measure for this. But that is not going to answer the greater question. And the greater question is this, that the issues that are being witnessed right now in voters not being identified, in some voters not voting, does that constitute a material breach of the Constitution and the revocation of the rights of Kenyans to their civic duty? Now, that question will for sure be ventilated in the courts, because I can assure you the various issues that we are seeing here, given the various litigious nature of our politics, I can assure you someone is already preparing a court case on this particular matter, because yes, it is a breach of the Constitution. It is denying people their rights, and then of course it's going to affect the results of the presidential election. Whether this will cause there to be an overturning of the election depends on what philosophy the judges will take. Will they take a qualitative philosophy, which was taken by the former Chief Justice Maraga, who has since retired, who said that the process of an election is important, or will they take a quantitative view, which was taken by the previous Chief Justice, who had said that as long as the irregularities do not occur in such an instance as to create a material change of the will of the people, then the vote is allowed to continue. That means if these irregularities are not significant enough to change the will of the people, to change who has won the election, then most likely the petition will not sail through. So we are waiting to see what the new Chief Justice and her philosophy will be on this particular matter.
So talking about the results of the election, how soon are we likely to have the announcement of results?
Well, the Form 34As will largely be filled by tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon at the latest. But this will not be tallied and transferred to the IEBC directly for the Wafula Chebukati to make a decision. Instead, they will go to the Constituency Tallying Center, where they will be filled. And it is the constituency forms that will give the results. And those forms we expect to start trickling in any day from Thursday, the 11th of August. So that is when we expect to see some results. Tomorrow we will see forecasts. We will see different institutions that are keeping a tally, giving an indication of who has won, but the official results will start trickling in as of Thursday and Friday. That is my calculation.
All right, I want to say many thanks to you, Mark Bichachi, our Rise East Africa analyst. We'll be keeping an eye on the elections as they go down. We know that by 5 p.m., the polls will be closing.